Hi everybody, welcome to your video for Uranus in Gemini. So if some of you have listened to my previous videos, you'll remember that I have first-hand experience with the transit of every planet in our solar system. Okay, I'm that old, right? So when I do your forecasts, I speak from, again, first-hand experience, okay? I'm a Sagittarius, and Uranus was in Sagittarius in the 80s. And that I can remember, I had a lot of fun. So, anyway, the last time Uranus was in Gemini was August 1941 to June 1949. So it's been a while. You know, it takes that long. It's 7 to 8 years in each zodiac sign. Usually it takes that long to go through the whole zodiac. So, also, we had a little bit of a preview last summer with Uranus in Gemini from July 7th to November 7th. And it was in very low degrees, so you probably didn't notice anything different except for maybe those Geminis that are born the first few days of the sun sign. You may have noticed something a little different. But this transit is from April 25th of this year. Okay, this just fully moved into Gemini until May 22nd of 2033. Okay, and what's really nice about this is at the same time the planet Pluto is currently in Aquarius, it will be there for like 20 years. And Aquarius is a fellow air sign, just like Gemini. So these two planets will be trining one another off and on. Okay, a trine is a 120-degree angle in your chart, and it's very helpful. Okay, so that's nice to know that these two planets are in air signs at the same time. Okay, so some of the key words associated with this planet is sudden, unexpected events, surprises, unusual things happening, things like that, okay? It is called the Great Awakener. Apparently, it's like having your subconscious mind blend with your conscious mind, okay? So they become one, and you are your true self. You can't help but be your true self, okay? So your behavior or your attitude, whatever, even your actions may surprise other people. It depends on what part of your chart this is going on in, this transit is in. So, you know, you are just being your true self. That's what this is. You can't help but be your true self. Okay, so that's what this planet will do. It will bring a lot of unusual, unexpected things into your life, but you may be the unusual, unexpected thing in someone else's life, okay? Anyways, now for your forecast. Hi, Aries. Okay, so where this transit is, where Uranus is in Gemini, is your third house, okay? This is your house of your everyday life. This is the people and places you would encounter throughout the normal course of your day. This is all forms of communication. Gemini is the natural ruler of this house, okay? This is text message, email, regular postal mail, whatever, the written word, okay? Also, local travel, like a day trip, overnight trip, a weekend trip, or short distance, okay? And it's usually a road trip, okay? This is the house of also your siblings, your cousins, your neighbors. You know, neighbors are also fourth house thing, but whatever. But it's your neighborhood. Okay, it's the people and places, again, you would encounter, like going to the grocery store, the post office, something or other. So this is where your unusual occurrences may happen. Okay, you may have possibly a new neighbor move into the neighborhood that is very different from anyone else in the area. This could be good or bad. This could be a breath of fresh air or something that maybe you don't care for about them. They're just too different for you. Also, you may tend to get, let's say, other people's packages, their mail, for some reason, even though it's definitely addressed to your neighbor. It just somehow ends up on your doorstep for whatever reason. Okay. You could also have very unusual experiences when traveling, or just to go visit some places that are really different, or different for you. Maybe you would go to some historic site, like, a battlefield or a museum or a gallery even. That's a little bit different for you, and possibly learn something from that. Also, you could be learning something on your own at this time, or even teaching other people. Okay, third house is a media house, right? It's social media. Is more or less 11th house, but this is also like an internet house. So I would have to say that maybe you could develop some kind of podcast or a website or a YouTube channel, something or other, where you may be surprised at how many people you really attract to your channel. You just never know. Whatever your topic is, for discussion, could be really out there too. It's up to you, whatever, but you really should probably do something related to the media, or write something. This is the house of the written word, so you could even be writing something at this time. It's also, let's say, some kind of, this being the house of your siblings, you could actually have a sibling or a cousin that acts up in some way or other that is kind of like there for the family to deal with, okay? But mainly this is just like the house of your everyday life, and find that, you could be taking a walk or riding your bike or doing something within your own area, and just have run into the strangest people or occurrences, or something different and exciting just in your own neighborhood. Okay, so let's see here for Taurus. Okay, this is happening in your second house. Okay, Uranus is in Gemini in your second house. It did just leave your sign. So you may notice a little bit of difference there, not having this in your first house anymore. Your second house is, you're actually the natural ruler of the second house. This is possessions, earned money. This is how you earn your money. It's your main money house, okay? It's also your investments, your sense of self-worth, your actual personal values, but also your valuables, okay? With Uranus here, it brings in money like off and on. It's almost like being caught in a temp position, where maybe you work somewhere for, a few weeks, then you're off to the next place, and you work there for a few weeks or a few days or something or other. There could be something like that. That could actually be something, though, that you are looking for, maybe just working off and on. But it could also just be money coming in, money going out just as fast, like an influx of money, or an outgoing of money. So you have to keep in mind, that there could be unusual things going on with your money or your possessions. Okay, you may want to check things that you own, okay, that are considered collectibles, because you would be surprised as to how much they're worth. Like some people, it could be like nothing to you, mean nothing to you, or you think it's a piece of junk. But it could really have a lot of memories for someone, or whatever, for whatever reason, they collect that very thing, okay? So you should check to see how much whatever you own is worth, okay? Because the value does go up and down as far as collectibles go. Also, though, your investments, anything that you might have purchased, and this is the standard, like stocks and coins and luxury items like jewelry, though, too, it could be a good investment for you. But something like that, whatever you own, just take a good look at it and actually make sure it's still there. You know, you may have put it in such a good place to keep it safe that you can't even remember where that good place is. Or you may forget that you sold it, or you gave it away, or you gifted someone with whatever, okay? So that's another thing too, is I would, you guys really aren't the gamblers of the Zodiac, but there are times when it would be a good idea to play the lottery. You just never know, okay? You just never know when you're going to win something, okay? Now for Gemini, okay, this is happening in your first house, okay? So this is the house of self. This is your rising sign is how the world sees you, and your sun sign is your inner self, like how you truly are, okay? So this is for Geminis with Gemini rising, okay? I do have to point out that this is something that I noticed when I did experience this transit, okay? It does bring about, because this is an electrical planet, okay? In fact, the glyph for the planet Uranus looks like an antenna that used to go like on top of our homes, you know, whatever. But it does rule and govern electronics, okay? So, your nervous system could be kind of extra charged by this planet. You may notice a physical shaking a little bit, or just over it, like an abundance of energy that you just have to get rid of somehow. You know, so you may take up something physical, like exercise or dance or something to do to get rid of some of this excess energy. Also, your mind may be going so fast that when you go to speak, the two don't meet. They don't match up so well, okay? So you may tend to stutter at times. And you, remember, you're the great communicators of the Zodiac. You rule communications. So this is one of those things where you may even have a different way of communicating somewhere down the line. I don't know what that could be, but it's something for you to explore. Okay, but you may, again, at times stutter because your mind is working faster than your mouth can get it out there. Okay. You may also blurt out things on and off, unexpectedly, things that you had not planned on saying, but keep in mind that this is the true you. This is how you truly feel. You know, whether or not the person you're speaking to likes it, you know, so that's why I say you could be the surprise in someone's life, but you are just really, you can't hold it in anymore, and that's why it blurts out, you know. It could be anything, your actions, whatever it is about yourself, your physical appearance, you may change also. This is one of those transits where people dye their hair like blue or green or striped or something or other, or they get tattoos or piercings, or they change their dress in some way or other, the way they dress, their style, you know. It's like people say you're just going through a phase or whatever, and that could be it, you know, but it's probably what you've always really wanted to do. So just keep that in mind, that you also have unusual experiences coming into your life and unusual people too, okay? So just meeting people, the more you get out, the more that you have the opportunity to be around or even go to places where you would like to meet different people from different backgrounds, things like that, things that you could possibly learn from them. Okay. Also, I would be careful around electronics, appliances, anything that plugs in. Okay. Or the lights, the lighting in your home or something. Just be careful of, like, not getting shocked. That's all. It's just something to keep in mind. Hi, Cancer. Okay, so where this transit is occurring is in your 12th house, so it's hidden. Okay, the 12th house is behind the scenes anything. Okay, activities by you or someone else. It's secrets and confidences. It's also your subconscious mind, your dreams. It is the house of charity, the house of self-undoing. It's called that because this is the house where you could drive yourself crazy. Okay, kind of. It is the house of confinement, though, in some way or other. You may end up having to deal with someone who is confined to, let's say, like a nursing home or at home due to illness, or they are in prison, an actual prison, or just something, you could even be doing charitable work in one of these facilities, something like that. Okay, so it might not be a person that you're dealing with, but maybe you are helping out in some way, someone who can't get around on their own. Okay, and this isn't something that you'll like blast to the world. It's not like you need someone to pat you on the back and tell you what a wonderful person you are for doing all this stuff. The person you're doing it for hopefully will truly appreciate everything that you are doing for them. And I do have to mention, just because Pluto in Aquarius in your 8th house, okay, these two are trining one another. I would have to say that you may be made the executor of someone's estate, something like that. You may be put in charge of or overseeing their life in some way or other. So that's something you would really have to figure out on your own. It's a huge responsibility to take on. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Also, though, your subconscious mind, okay, this is one of the houses of psychic ability, okay, and you more than likely, we all have our own levels of psychic ability, okay, so that supposedly water signs may be a little bit more psychic than others because of they rule emotions, okay. But either way, whatever abilities you possess will really kick in while this transit is here. So really pay attention to your nudges, your instincts. Whatever, I always say, whatever the first thing that pops into your mind is, that's the one that's correct. Don't overthink it. Don't try to unthink it or try to make an excuse as to why you thought that in the first place. That first thought that came to your mind, that's the correct one, okay? But your dreams may be very prophetic, okay? So keep that in mind. Also, you may be working on something like behind the scenes, a project of your own. When this planet leaves Gemini, it will move into your sign. So you may be making all kinds of plans for the future that you will probably implement somewhere along the line. You don't have to wait for this transit to hit you, right? But there's something that may be going on behind the scenes, okay? You may also be working, doing something behind the scenes that is probably like some kind of side job or whatever, but you're not really letting anyone know about it. It could be helping someone, but it could actually be something that you've you know, always wanted to do, but you're not really sure, so you're going to try it out first before you, you know, really commit to whatever it is. Okay, so just remember that, and that there, if you suspect or if you have feelings that there is something going on behind your back, we all have that feeling at one time or other. But in your case, because this planet is here, there might be, you know, but it's a surprise. Okay, that's what the big deal here is it would be a surprise to you as what or who is planning something or doing something behind your back. And that's not always a bad thing either. Someone could be really like looking out for you and you're not even aware of it. Okay, now for Leo, this transit is happening in your 11th house. Okay, you have Uranus and Gemini in your 11th house of your friends. This is the house of your friends and your associates, acquaintances. It's your most sociable house. It is socializing in person or online. It's any group or organization that you belong to, and also the house of dreams, hopes, and wishes. This is like where you would normally go to hang out. Okay, so you could be just out there wanting to meet new people, just totally new people, far more interesting than the current friends that you have, even though you may try to fit these new people into your group of friends, which is fine. Or you could end up with a totally new group of friends, or hanging out in some new place that is just you. You know, it's so much more interesting than where you were going. Maybe things have gotten boring for you socially. Or even if you don't go out at all, this is on social media. You know, you could still be online somewhere, meeting a lot of really unusual and different kinds of people that have a lot of different backgrounds that are just a lot more interesting to you. Okay, same thing with a group or organization. You could join one of these things, become part of some kind of organization that does something a little different, you know. I would have to say, you know, not that you are a sign that's really known for science, you know, but you may be attracted to something like that. You could be attracted to astrology or tarot or metaphysical anything, you know. So you could end up joining some kind of group like that. Or this is also the house of dreams, hopes, and wishes. You could have something like that come true. One of your dreams, okay? One of your wishes. So this is something to strive for. This is a goal-oriented house, okay? So this is some way for you to go after what it is that you truly want. And you may meet the people that you need to actually do that. You know what I mean? In a very unusual way. That's another thing. You may meet people under very unusual circumstances. You know, I know a guy that said that he met this other guy because they both slipped on the same piece of ice and caught each other. They were friends ever since. Okay, something like that. Just keep that in mind, okay? So for, let's see here, Virgo. Okay, Virgo, this is happening in your 10th house of your career. It is your most public house. Okay, your 10th house. It is how you're known by reputation, both professionally and personally. So it's like your personal status, your public status, how people talk about you. Let's say like, or even post about you on social media. If you have any kind of career where you are in the public eye, you would be in the public eye even more, but it could be under unusual circumstances. You could be in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time, you know, but either way, you were there, and people may remember that, you know, remember you for that one event, something or other. This is also a time where you could change your career totally, Okay, do something else. It's not like you just woke up one day and went, I'm tired of what I do for a living, or I'm retired and I've always wanted to do this. You know, you've thought about it. You didn't just roll, like I said, roll out of bed and say, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to go out and, I don't know, do whatever. So don't be surprised. Gemini is a multitasker. You could have the one job and another, like a career in one field and another field. You don't have to like really just commit to one, if you have the time to be able to do something like that. So just keep that in mind. Also, when I mentioned like social media, about maybe people posting about you on social media, you might want to keep an eye throughout this transit on and off, where to make sure that people have the correct facts about you. A lot of times when this planet is here, people, they don't know enough about you, so they tend to make stuff up. It's almost like it's gossip. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes they're just misinformed, and they're not really sure exactly possibly what you do for a living or what you did for a living. So like I said, they make stuff up. Okay, just keep that in mind. Hi, Libra. Okay, so for you, this transit is occurring in your 9th house of long-distance travel and communications. It's also the house of higher learning, legal matters, foreign countries, people, languages, media and publishing, adventure. Okay, this is the house of outer space. Okay, any kind of travel, right? So, having the planet Uranus here, it does look like you may take up some kind of, could even be a pseudoscience, or an actual something or other. You could go back to school, or you could even teach a class, but it could be something a little different, or under unusual circumstances. Maybe you never taught a class, but someone contacts you to ask you if you will. Or someone could contact you to ask you if you would teach them or show them how to do something. It could be like a little bit of an apprenticeship kind of thing, or you could be the apprentice even. Somebody could actually just be showing you how to do something you've always wanted to know, okay? This could be anything, actually, but it could even be to learn, let's say, like another language, how to play an instrument, how to possibly code in computer language, something or other, okay? You could also be attracted to things like astrology or tarot, or metaphysical anything, okay? Or you could also adopt the ways of another culture, such as something as simple as like introducing yoga to your daily life. But there are like, this is the house of spirituality and philosophy, so your philosophy on life could be changing in some way or other. Maybe your views on religion that you grew up with are totally different than what you were taught when you were little, right? So something like that. This is also the house of your opinions, even like your political views. So a lot of this stuff could be changing. You could also have adventures, okay, that you could start off doing one thing and it does turn into an adventure of some kind or other, but it's fun. It's just totally out of the blue. Another thing is travel. You could have the opportunity to travel off and on, just totally out of the blue, okay? So it does look like a lot of fun, actually. Also, this is a media house, right? So this is one of those internet houses. If you have a podcast or a website or a YouTube channel, it could really, really get a lot of attention. So if you don't have one, it would be a good idea to create one while this transit is going on. You have a lot really going for you. A lot of contact with people from different backgrounds than yours, especially foreigners, you know, people who live at a distance or possibly in another country. Maybe you do business or didn't, but will now be doing business with people in other countries. Okay? So for, let's see here, Scorpio, this transit for you is occurring in your 8th house of other people's money and resources, passive money coming to you through means other than earning it, such as a refund of some kind, an inheritance, a windfall like prize money, tax return, something or other. Okay, it's also the house of jointly held property and jointly held debt. Also credit, you know, this is bank accounts and credit cards. Also the house of transformation, okay, where you could be transformed into a completely different person, not physically, more so, I would have to say spiritually, okay. You're the natural ruler, actually, of this house. So when planets are here, they tend to do, like, really well, actually. But it is a time where you do have to check out, keep an eye on your bills, your taxes, your bank accounts, and credit cards, even if they're not jointly held with someone else, okay? You could experience things like just statements that are incorrect, or you're being billed for something you didn't even ask for. They just tagged it on to whatever you originally ordered. You know, you could also, though, be on the receiving end of some kind of inheritance, and it doesn't have to be anyone you know even. It doesn't have to be family. I do have to mention that Pluto is in Aquarius in your 4th house of your home and family and your past, your upbringing, all of that. So it could be, you know, you could benefit from someone. They don't even have to die, okay, for you to inherit. Someone may give you property, or you may be named the executor of someone's will, you know, something like that. Or people could just, even complete strangers could just give you things because they want you to have it. Maybe you do something in your line of work, or even if you're retired, something that you used to do, someone may feel that you would really like whatever it is they're going to give you. So people may gift you off and on with stuff that their possessions, you know, maybe you expressed, you know, a liking for something that someone owned, and they want you to have it. Maybe they were going to get rid of it anyway, so they would rather give it to you. Things like that, you know, other people's resources may be made available to you. All you have to do is ask, you know, and you may be surprised at, like, how much they give you. Okay, I would have to say something like, if you were to open like a GoFundMe or a crowdsourcing kind, this is just an example, okay, crowdsourcing thing, you know, for people to help you achieve, you know, a certain financial goal for something or other, you'd be surprised, I think, as to who would donate or how much would be donated, okay. So, for Sagittarius, okay, Gemini is your opposite sign. This is happening in your 7th house, directly across from your 1st house of Sagittarius. 7th house is close partners and friendships. It's any kind of arrangement or agreement, but this is like with a business partner, a romantic partner, or a friend. It's also the house of agreements, right? So contracts even. It's verbal or written. It is the house of open enemies and competition. Okay, so I think the big surprise for you will be someone going into business with someone possibly, or doing business with someone that is totally different than you. Maybe it's someone that you would never have dealt with in the past for whatever reason, but a lot of times it could be because you didn't even know they existed. Okay, you may even start dating if you're single, dating someone you probably would never have been attracted to in the past. Okay, and this person has some really unusual traits about them. Okay, there's something really different about them. Or the relationship could be very freedom loving, let's put it that way. You both see whomever you want to, and you see each other, or something like that. It's that kind of relationship where maybe you see each other just a few times a year, but it works, right? Maybe it's not for everyone, but it works for you and this other person. And the same thing with friends. You may have new people really coming into your life that help to bring out, I think, the best in you. Okay, the more because they are either coming into your life in a very sudden, unexpected way, that could be like the tone for the whole relationship. Everything that happens with you and this friend even is like fun and exciting and new, something new. Okay, and someone actually may approach you to go into business with them. And it could be for something a little different than what you're used to, or the arrangement could be something that hopefully gives you a lot of leeway to, maneuver or do whatever you want to. But you could be offered a really nice partnership where you have a lot of freedom to do whatever it is that you want to. You could also have, as far as open enemies go and competition, you could be surprised by who would even be interested in competing with you, or coming into your life, wanting to come into your life. Usually that's what it is with an open enemy, is someone that sometimes really just wants to be part of your life. And whether you like that or not, who knows. But yeah, you would have to get used to someone possibly like I would have to say trying to barge into your life whether or not you wanted them there. Okay? Hi, Capricorn. Okay, this transit is occurring in your 6th house. That's where you have Gemini. 6th house of the workplace, the kind of work that you do, your co-workers, your work schedule, your daily schedule, like, getting up, washing your face, brushing your teeth, stuff like that. It's also your house of health and your house of service to others. Okay, so having Uranus here, it could be that even if you're retired, okay, whatever you do for a living or did for a living, you may take up some kind of side job. Okay, this is a side hustle of some kind, but it's something that you've always wanted to do. It's more than likely something creative that you will do, at home or whatever. Could be anything actually, but you could take an interest, let's say, like in astrology or tarot or anything metaphysical, something like that. Whatever the case, though, your work, the kind of work that you do, is more than likely going to change. Okay, you may still, whatever you do for a living currently, you would probably still hang on to or still do until whatever you are doing on the side possibly becomes your main source of income. That's the whole goal, right? I mean, you are a Capricorn. That's what Capricorns do. They're the executives of the Zodiac. Okay. So anyways, it's something like that. You could also, wherever it is that you work with, under unusual circumstances. There could be weird, like, I don't know, people. You could have at least one strange coworker that is just very unusual, or a boss or something or other. There could be rules and regulations that don't seem to make sense. This could be something that's just changing now, you know, with this planet entering this area. The company you work for could be making these kind of odd changes, okay, to your schedule even. If you're self-employed, this could be going on with clients. You know, they could be, I don't know, expressing some weirdness in some way or other, okay? As far as your health goes, that could be up and down. You could have, not that it's going to be bad, but you could develop some kind of ailment that is a little bit hard to place. It's sometimes an allergy to something or other, but you can't figure out what you're allergic to. This is, with this planet, electrical. Okay, so I would be careful, even especially at work, of accidents possibly happening due to something, the lights, electric, a socket, something or other. I don't know, being shocked, possibly, or just having something suddenly happen in the workplace. So always be careful when you're there anyways. You would normally do that, but if you are asked ever to do something that is normally not part of your job, such as climbing a ladder or lifting something, moving something, whatever, if it's not part of your normal everyday job, don't do it, okay? Because there's a possibility that you could get hurt in the workplace, okay? And again, as far as your health goes, you know, you would normally be going, you know, to a doctor for a checkup sooner or later anyway. So you just may want to, if you have any kind of ailment but you're not sure what it is, could even be the weather that like bothers you a little bit up and down, especially with the degrees going up and down. Could be a sinus thing, allergies, whatever. Okay, and as far as service to others goes, okay, I view that as someone needs your help in some way or other, so they offer to do something for you, so you benefit from the arrangement while you do something for them, like a 50-50 thing. But you really have to watch any kind of arrangement that you're getting into with someone, okay? This could be a coworker or it could be family. It almost looks like it's family just due to the fact that you have Aries on your 4th house, and Neptune and Saturn are in Aries, and your 4th house is your family, okay? Could be very draining. You know, you could agree to do something to help someone out, even if it's just like picking up their kids after school, or watching their kids, or just riding them possibly to and from work, or giving them a ride to whatever the case, okay? It may be, you feel, a one-time thing, but you could be the go-to person each time they want this favor. Okay, so you might want to, if you do agree to something or other, some kind of an arrangement, could even be somebody trying to move in with you. Okay, as far as family goes, it could be, yeah, someone just plops themselves on your doorstep, and you're there, you're supposed to take care of them. Whatever, okay? Or it could be somebody from your past even also coming back into the picture that is like more trouble than they're worth. So if you agree to anything, just make sure it's just a one-time thing, you know? And if you notice that they keep coming to you each time, you know what? A lot of times people have other people they can go to. In fact, they probably have family that they can go to, but they don't want to bother them. It's all right to bother you, though. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't agree to something long term. I wouldn't. Okay, so for Aquarius, this is happening in your 5th house. Okay, you have Uranus and Gemini in your 5th house of fun. Fun and romance, speculation, gambling, and any kind of game or sport or form of entertainment, anything to do with children, creativity, all kinds of fun stuff. This would be a fun place to have this planet, okay? When I had it here, I really didn't notice too much of a difference, you know, but you may find that like your taste in music or film, something or other is not changing, not really changing, but it's opening up. You're experiencing new stuff that maybe you would never have tried before. This could be due to someone new coming into your life. It could be a new romantic person, but it could also be just a friend, okay? For whatever reason they're coming into your life, they could bring out a nice wild side of you, okay? And remember, you have Pluto in your sign right now, so you are changing anyway. Transformation, that's what Pluto does, okay? Sometimes it's gradual, most of the time it's gradual, but by the time your transit of Pluto is over, you won't even recognize the person you used to be, okay? So this whole 5th house thing could be something like that. It could be something really creative, though, that you are doing. You know, if you play an instrument, or if you like photography, or you do some form of art, you know, it could really blossom at this time with this planet here, okay? And I am going to tell you to play the lottery occasionally when you feel that feeling lucky, whatever. But as far as speculation goes, sometimes it's good to speculate on yourself. You know, chances that you would not have taken in the past on yourself is something that you should probably really do at this time, okay? You may also find that you have a knack for like dancing. You know, maybe you didn't think that you would be a good dancer or singer, something or other, okay? And as far as children go, they may be part of your life for some reason or other if you don't already have children, okay? If you do, your children, your own children will surprise you in some way or other with their own creativity or sports that they do or something that they do that is very unique, okay? But expect like some very different people coming into your life through possible collaborations, creative collaborations, or romance or friendship. And this is also one of those times where I don't really think, you know, I mean, that this is a definite thing, but a lot of times people have affairs at this time, when they're married, okay, with Uranus here, just looking for that extra, whatever. Okay, but I just thought I'd mention it, that is something that sometimes happens when Uranus is in your 5th house. Okay. Now for Pisces, this transit is occurring in your 4th house. That's where you have Gemini, and your 4th house is your home and family. It's where you physically live and the property surrounding it. It's your past, your upbringing, how you were raised. It's also your personal life. Let's see. And yeah, pretty much that's it, okay? So you could have really ups and downs here. If you live with family, you could have a family member that just comes and goes with revolving doors. Same thing with a roommate. If you just, you know, have your own place or you have a roommate, that you could have revolving roommates. You know, people come and go, or you could have even like an extra room that maybe you rent out, and could be just for like a day or two or a few days, but the people are very different. You know, there could be things happening with where you live, though. You're in your neighborhood or your neighbors, or even your property, something very out of like unusual. Okay, could be anything. You know, I would like kind of look into, you know, if your property does have a past, or if you have an apartment of people that lived there before you, if there's something weird that you find, you know, let's say on your property, you may wonder where it's come, you know, where did this come from? I don't want to say you have a buried treasure possibly, but you may have something buried in your yard, or you know, stuck in a wall somewhere. Weird stuff like that. You just never know what you're going to find, okay? And it could also be a time where, you know, your home becomes the place to gather for some reason or other. Even if you're not really up for that, people just seem to want to be at your place. Maybe you have something there that's very interesting, or an interesting setup where even people can just sit and watch TV or movies or something or other, but it's very popular. Okay. See ya.